Yeah, we are live. Good morning, everyone from Vietnam, and good evening, Paulo, and everyone from Canada and the North of America. How are you today, Paulo?
I'm doing really well, Hang. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for your accepting my invitation to be on my page and my profile today as well. I'm so
Yeah,
happy and yeah, really grateful. And congratulations that you've been back from your very exciting journey vacation to Peru,
yes.
right?
Yeah, I
Wow.
was in for 10 days.
Yeah,
We were,
anything from Peru that you feel the most excited from this vacation?
I would say the Amazon rainforest because we went to the south of Peru, and I've always wanted to go to the Amazon since I was a kid. So
Mhm.
it was nice to actually finally just be there, and I thought it was a really cool experience. I mean, we were only there for a few days, but it just makes me want to go back. So next time I go to the Amazon, I'm definitely gonna go to the Brazil side, because I heard that's where there's a lot more animals and stuff that I can see. So yeah, that's the goal next time.
Wow, great. Peru
Yeah,
is also one of my destination in my bucket list as well. So I
yeah,
wish I can be there soon in the future.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So for anyone who visits my page for the first time, I'm Hằng. I'm living in Hanoi, Vietnam. I'm a mom of two, and I'm still a full-time job as a manager in my construction company. And for the digital business, I have been running for 2 years, and April is my second year anniversary.
Yay,
Yeah, and
congrats.
today, yeah, thank you, Paulo. And today I'm so honored, and it's my pleasure to invite Paulo to my page today and share with everyone about his journey. So can you please introduce about yourself so we all can know more about you? Thank you,
Oh
Paulo.
yeah, definitely hang out. So hi everyone, I'm Paulo. So I am based in Vancouver, Canada. So it's just awesome with this community that we can connect with people all around the world. But I was born in the Philippines. I was born in Manila. I moved to Canada when I was about 6 months old. So I grew up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I was there for almost 20 something years, and moved around within Canada. And I graduated in Calgary with my nursing degree. So I've been nursing since 2004. Don't let this young exterior fool you. Like it's been almost 18, 19 years now I've been nursing. So I've done quite a bit of it. And yeah, no, I've done stuff from inpatient hospitals. So I worked in Calgary at University. I worked at Foothills Hospital. I worked in respiratory medicine and thoracic surgery. Did a bit of trauma surgery as well. Moved to Vancouver and continued working thoracic surgery. And then I went on a trip to Europe for a vacation. And I was like, with my nursing career, why don't I try to get my license out in the UK in London? So I spent a whole year just trying to work out my working visa, and I finally got it and ended up moving out to the UK in around 2007, 2008. So I went out and moved there for about a year and did GI surgery, but it didn't work out for me. It was I I actually like packed up my whole life, sold everything in Vancouver, packed up my whole life in 3 weeks, in three suitcases, and moved to the UK, thinking that I was actually going to stay there forever. But it didn't work out. But the experience was great, and I moved back to Calgary, and so I actually got into research oncology. So. I started doing oncology clinical trials research with the gastrointestinal group. So those are like cancers such as like colorectal cancer, esophageal cancer, stomach cancers. So I did that for a couple years, and then I moved to Vancouver and continued doing that as well. So I worked at BC Cancer for a bit doing oncology clinical trials research. But expanded more from doing gastrointestinal to gynecology. So I was doing ovarian cancer, cervical cancer, endometrial cancers, and I did some rare tumors. So I did a whole bunch of stuff, but I burnt out. Working with working with oncology patients and always looking out for other people. I burnt out. It caught up to me finally, and I quit nursing and got into doing working for a pharmaceutical company. So I ended up just auditing oncology clinical trials. So I was just on the other end of just watching oncology clinical trials as they're happening and doing auditing for a pharmaceutical company, with Bristol Myers Squibb was the company. And then I burnt out as well after a couple of years. even though I worked from home, I got the experience of being able to work, not in an office, but in a home setting. It was great, but when you're working, I worked 10, 16-hour days. Like that's, to me, that was, at first it was fine, but when it dragged out to almost a year and then 2 years and really affecting your personal life, I just couldn't do it anymore. So I quit again and then got back into casual nursing. So I was, a lot. I felt a lot better doing casual nursing, and then
Mhm.
and so yeah, it's just like no pressure of being I can just pick up shifts whenever I wanted to, and that was during the time when I already I started the business as well. I started about, I would say, 3 years ago. Before that, so I already had like that backbone of having an online business, and so that's what gave me the confidence and flexibility of just saying like I could work casual as a nurse. So yeah, so that's like the last, I would say, my whole sort of career path of where I've came from, and just sort of like when I started the business. So
Wow, thank you, Paulo. It's just a long journey, right? And you
yeah,
spend also most of your time in nursing career. In my family, we have quite many doctors and nurses, like my
yeah,
father, my sister, my cousin, and I all know that they are working very hard. First, they
yeah,
have to study 6 years in university to become a doctor, and after that, they have to get further knowledge and further education. And they
yeah,
spend most of the time in the hospital, and even that every week they have to work overnight, like a shift in hospital for 1 or 2 days. It's so hard working, right? Yeah, and
yeah,
so I
yeah,
can understand your life before,
yeah,
overwhelmed, stress, mentality, right? Yeah,
yeah,
and yeah,
yeah.
so
It's not normal working 12-hour days, working
mm,
night shifts,
yeah,
evenings, and
that's it.
you really, thankfully I don't have kids. I don't, and so I didn't miss out in the quality time with like seeing my kids grow up. But, for
Yeah,
people with kids, like that's where I saw my colleagues that had kids, like they missed out on like birthdays or like, big events that they couldn't make it because they couldn't get their shifts covered. And so, that's what's tough with a lot of people who work in any sort of shift work, that you do end up missing out on lifetime events that you'll never be able to attend again because you
yeah.
can't get somebody to repeat their graduation or their birthdays again. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I still remember my childhood because my father is a doctor. He's a dermatology doctor, and he spent
yeah,
most of his time in the hospital with his patient. Yeah,
yeah,
so we lack of his time as well. So I understand that. And now my sister, she's also a doctor, and she missed a lot of milestone, the important time with her kid as well. Yeah, so that's why we are trying to find some other ways, to find back our quality time for our family and especially for our kids, right? Yeah.
exactly.
So how long have you been in this business journey? And yeah, do you find any difficulties? Because from your background, your story, I see that you have never done anything like online business like this before,
No,
right? Yeah. So I think that
never.
there should be some difficulties for you.
Yeah. So I started back in January of 2017. So that's just over 5 years now.
Sorry.
So yeah, I'm glad I made that decision because I what triggered that decision of starting a business. I know I'm quite kind of going off the side, but what triggered me to start the business was just before I turned 33, I was diagnosed with a rare neuromuscular disorder, and so basically, I lost the ability to control my neck because the part of my brain was just sending too many signals to my neck, and so my head was just doing this all the time. Every
Yeah.
1 to 2 minutes it was just doing that, and it felt like somebody had a remote control and controlled my head.
Mhm.
But it got so aggressive that it pinched the nerve on my right side, in my spine, so my whole right arm, I lost full motor and sensory
Oh,
control. And so I was bedridden for almost a good 3 months. I couldn't feed myself, dress myself, and so I just remember lying in bed. I was just lying in bed, just like worrying about bills. Who's going to pay for the mortgage? Who's going to pay for the phone bills? Because I didn't know if I could go back to work or have a normal life again. When instead, like when somebody is sick, like it's that time where somebody should just be worried about healing, getting better, not bills. And that's the first thing that popped in my head. And I told myself, once I get better, I would never let myself get to that point in my life where I have to worry about money. And so that's what triggered me to, start looking for something in the online space. And, that's when I found it back in January. And so I'm glad I found it. And like as you mentioned, Hang, like I didn't have anything, like I had no experience going into this. Like my background's all in nursing. Before that, I worked in retail. I worked at like food restaurants and stuff. So I never had any sort of marketing and online experience. But because our training is step by step, it's so extensive now over the several years now that our community has gone so massive and global that the training you can do pretty much 24/7 whenever you have the ability to have that free time. So I've gained that knowledge from our training, from our masterminds, from talking with other people who are also doing the type of business that we're doing. So that's how I gain my knowledge. So for people who think that I don't have the skills or the expertise, that that's you can forget about that, because you will learn it as you get access to our training. So yeah, so 5 years now, like I've changed a lot personally. I've changed a lot with just the information that I've learned, because I don't think people realize that our information, our training that we have on the back end is something that you can actually apply to other business models. And so I've actually been able to help other friends who are starting up businesses, who have brick and mortar business already but don't have an online presence. I've been helping them figure out how to market stuff in the online space, like Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. So that knowledge I don't think I'd pay thousands of dollars for it, because that's how useful that information is.
Yeah.
But we don't have to pay that much for that type of knowledge, because it's there and it's constantly getting updated. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, for your sharing. Yeah, because many of us, when we join our community, we don't have any IT background or any online business before. It's exactly like me. I'm nothing in this online business world. But really, so grateful for the training side and for the community that we can learn. And the training side provides a step-by-step training course so everyone can follow and
Mhm.
study and learn and do this business successfully, right?
Yeah.
Wow, it's so
Yeah.
great. So
And,
I'm
and
always feel so grateful for that.
yeah, you know what, Hang, what surprises me too over the several years is just seeing how young people are who are joining. Like as young as 18 are
Yeah,
people who are starting to do this business. I wish we had this available when I was that
yeah,
age.
when he was younger, right?
Yeah, because I know financially I would have set myself up, but then we also have people in their as old as in their 70s doing this, because they realize they don't have enough money for for their retirement as well.
Yeah,
So that's the other reason why people in their 60s and 70s are doing this type of business, so that they can create a better retirement. So
yeah, that's
yeah.
true. Yeah, that's true. And it's also very surprise for me because when I joined this business, I just think people between 30 to 40 or a little bit over 40, they will join this business when they are already stable. But no, in fact, like even the very young people, like 18, 19, 20, they still join. And then the 60, 65, 70 still join our community. Wow, it's so amazing. This is right.
Yeah.
Great. And yeah, for many people who follow my page, they may know that our community, we have about 6 years, right? And I see that you have been in this business for over 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So you can say that you are one of the very first member in the communities, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, some people still think that joining any community, any business, if you are some of the very first people, you will have the chance to earn much money more than people who join later.
Yeah.
So yeah, can you please share a little bit about this, and can you distinguish our business model with other business model? Because sometimes people say, is that pyramids, is that MLM or something like that? So can you
Yeah.
explain a bit about this? Thank you.
Yeah, so with the whole different, pyramid and all that stuff, so it's not like any other business model in a sense, because we're able to, if I'm joined, let's say I just started fresh and I went under Hang, and I started, with, starting to do my own online business. And if Hang wasn't really motivated, and she's just kind of doing 50% into the business, whereas I was like putting 150% into my business. I can pass her and making more commissions in that sense. And so typical pyramid schemes, they don't allow that. It's always a person on top that's making all the money, and there's no products being actually sold and stuff. And so that's the difference. Like we have within our portfolio, we have multiple products in the back end, and so that's what allows us to have that longevity, to have that stability, because they're always saying you have to have multiple streams of revenue coming in to be successful and to have a financial security. And so that's what this community is building. And I can't wait for this week because we're launching another product, and I'm excited to see what it is. And so there's, yeah, you can't out of it. Like when I been with me being in here for 5 years, I realized that you can't just rely on your day job or your multiple part-time jobs or working for somebody else. We all know over the last 2.5 years now that regardless of how long you've worked for companies, that you can easily be let go, because to them you're just a number, you're just extra money that they have to pay for. So if they see redundancy in your role, they'll get rid of you. It's easy as that. And it's sad that that's how that's what happened over the last couple of years. But I had a lot of family and friends who lost jobs who were in Alberta because they are, well, Alberta is known as oil and gas province, and so they were cut out quite a lot. And so it's tough when you see that. And so when I was not experienced that, but when I saw that, I was grateful for having my backup, like, which was my online business. And so that's where a lot of people should start looking. Like, I don't think it's a matter of like, if you should, I think it's like you should actually start looking for other streams of revenue. It may not be this business, it could be other online businesses, but there are greater opportunities out there that you should actually start looking for things, so that so that you can diversify your your finances, and be able to be there or have that finances. Like, if let's say you got if you lost your job, and we've seen it beforehand with a lot of people where their spouse, one joined and started doing the business, but then the spouse lost their job, and then thankfully the other person had the business because that's what supported them throughout the last year or so, until the other person was able to find a job. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Thank you, Paulo. And the truth is showing that even my team member, yes, I have some team member who joined later after me, but still they can support me. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's why you say that it's not MLM, it's not pyramid scheme. It's quite legal business model. It's some kind connection between the attraction marketing, network marketing, and affiliate marketing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course, when people join our community, they will know in more details about this business. Yeah. But people, you can, yeah, 100%. Yeah, it is not the pyramids or not MLM. It is a quite legal business model, right? And it is recognized global. Yeah. So that's why we can run this business, and that's why Paulo can be here for over 5 years, right? If not, he cannot be here, right? Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, even though I've been in this business for 5 years, I haven't reached some milestones that other people who started the business the
Yeah.
same time as I did. Because when I started, I hesitated. I didn't start right away. I waited like almost 8 months before I started doing
Mhm.
stuff in the business.
Mhm.
And I kicked myself for not for doing that, because I would have been reaching higher milestones, and that all the other other like colleagues that we have within our community. And so when you yeah, don't one of my tips is like, don't hesitate to start. Just start, even though you're scared, even though you have fear. Just start, because all it takes is that first step, and then after that you get comfortable, and then you take the next step, and then you just keep moving forward and forward. And I just made excuses. I'm not gonna lie, I made excuses because I was fearful of stepping outside my comfort zone. And so
Yeah.
I all you can do is learn from your mistakes, and and teach people not to do the same mistakes as you. And so that's what I do with other people that who start the business through me. I help them and encourage them and push them to start the business right away and just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Paul, you may know that I follow my mentor, who's my college from my university as well. I follow her
Okay.
for almost 1 year. Her Slana
Oh,
email, and yeah, And after that, when I joined the community, one of the regrets thing that people in the community that they often share is that they wish they could start this business earlier. So now I
Yeah,
the same. I say, hey, Lanang, I wish I could start my business earlier, so I can achieve more milestone, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, the earlier you start, the better you will find, right?
yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much,
I agree.
Paulo, for your sharing today. And if you can pick out three things that you like the best in this business model, so can you share a little bit about that, if you can?
Yeah, so one of them is, I would say, as I mentioned a bit earlier, the flexibility. Like you can do this 24/7. When I was working for that pharmaceutical company, I was flying around like 6 to 8 times a month, and so I'd be at the airports all the time. So in between my actual work and stuff, I'd be at the airport. I'd be doing the training, and I'd be doing the training early in the mornings. I'd be doing the training early in the like late in the evenings, and so it's just a matter of making time to do the training. So I love that flexibility of having that access 24/7 to our training. The other thing is being able to connect with people all around the world, and I've made some really great friends with people that I've actually just started the relationship online, and then when I finally get to meet them, it never feels like you actually you've already felt like you've met them, even though we actually haven't met them. And so
Yeah.
I've you know I've had, yeah, like I said, I created really great relationships with people who were there to support me, with the business as well as like personal life too. So it's been awesome meeting that community, and I know it's just gonna get better once things start opening up again. You get to travel more, and then the other thing is just having the ability to take this business anywhere that has Wi-Fi. So a couple years ago, I actually moved down. I stayed down in Mexico for about 5 months or about 4 months, and I was working on the business and allowing the business to run, because the way our business model is and the way our system is, it allows the business to run 24/7. So a lot of it's automation that we didn't touch on, but there was a lot of automation within our system that allows your business to run 24/7. And so even though I was in Mexico, I was working, I would say maybe about 1 to 3 hours out of the day, but the rest of the time I was actually getting to enjoy my time there. And then I went down to Mexico again last year as well for a month, and I was working on the business. And then again, when I was in Peru, just like last week, I was still able to run the business, because if somebody is able to just um, normally, if you are able to use Instagram, Facebook, and just do posts and do things like that, you can do this business. It's just a matter of changing your mindset and using it as a business tool rather than a personal tool. So I was able to do that last week with my, even though I was on vacation, I was still working a little bit and doing little things, but it didn't overpack my ability to enjoy life and enjoy the moment that was there, because like I said, it's flexible with this business. So that's what I like, the flexibility, the meeting people, and then the ability to just take the business anywhere.
Wow, thank you for your sharing. Yeah, I experienced it as well because last 2 weeks I was on vacation for about 1 week, and that 1 week,
Okay.
wow,
Yeah.
my business is blowing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
received a lot of leads with buyer. They decide to come into our community and they decide to become a business partner. Wow, it's so amazing. I cannot imagine that I can run that business from my vacation. I was on
Yeah.
the southeast of Vietnam. Wow, it's so great. So we'll say hello to some of our friends who are watching us now. Hi,
Yeah.
Sisti from Sydney, Australia, and Dave from Australia. Thank you so much. Wow, we are global. Hello, Sisban from
Yeah.
Jakarta, Indonesia. Wow, love you. Okay, we have some friends. Thank you, Sis Wang, Sis Kate from Hanoi, Vietnam. Sis Xuân from Hà Tĩnh, Vietnam. Wow, the middle of Vietnam. Hi, brother Tony. Hi, Sis Kuang from Hanoi and from the south of Vietnam. Yes, Sis Lily. Thank you so much, Sis Lily from America, Massachusetts. Love you. Thank you,
Oh,
Sis
wow.
Juan and Sis Ha, for your watching and tuning in. Thank you so much. So you see that you are so hot, right? So people are
Yeah.
following you when I introduced about interview before. Okay, so before I let you go, can you give some advice to the people who are following our pages, who are following our business, but they still have something like hesitate and they do not
Yeah.
dare to start right now. So can you give some
Yeah.
advice for them?
I would just say do your due diligence. Do your homework, ask questions, watch the webinars multiple times, and just follow your gut instinct. Because if you if you're in a position right now where you're not happy, which I know a lot of people are not happy with their jobs, but they're just doing it because it's what pays the bills. But if you are thinking, maybe next year's going to get better, I might get a promotion, but you may not get a promotion. And, you're hoping for the next year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, that things are going to change. But if they don't change, it's always going to stay the same. And that's how the cycle's always like. That's how I fell in that cycle where I thought, I stay my nursing career. I love nursing, but it's capped financially. You work so hard, you overwork your mind, your body, your mentally, like it's just exhausting. And like I every year I would just maybe get an extra like 1 or 2% raise. Like it's just it doesn't add up with that and cost of living. And so, you know, you really have to sit and evaluate your life and see if things are actually going to change in the next 2 3 years or even next year. And if you see that's not really going to change, then take this step. All it takes is just taking that step and trying it out. It's I've seen this business opportunity change hundreds of people's lives, even thousands. I mean, we are over, I know we're definitely over 30,000 plus people globally doing this business. So it is changing people's lives. It's changing their ability to, you know, it may not happen right away. It may happen over a year, 2 years, 3 years, but it's allowing people to gradually improve their quality of life and spend that time with family and friends. And the one thing I've learned, like working with oncology patients and treating them till the time they passed away, the one thing that they've always asked or told me and talked about is that I wish they had more time. I wish they had more time to see their daughter get married or their grandkids grow up. Like it's the topic is time, and we all have the same time. We don't I don't have an extra an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours. We all have 24 hours in a day, and it's about how you spend those 24 hours. And if you're constantly tired, constantly like drained, you can't be there 100% present with your family and friends, then you really need to start thinking and looking for other ways to improve your life. And we we know it's out there because we seen it, we're in it right now, and we want to show people that there is an outlet to the 9 to 5 job. So yeah, just do your homework, do your research, ask questions, but there is options out there, so that you guys out there are able to live a better life.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Thank you, Paulo. Yeah, everything starts from taking action, right?
yeah,
And it's crazy that if we want something different, but we do the same thing every day, right? It's
yeah.
crazy. People say that, and that's true. Yeah, thank you so much again, Paulo, for your time today, sharing a lot of valuable thing, valuable info about your business journey and the tips and yeah, the knowledge about our business model. Thank you so much. And anyone who are tuning in now or watching us for the replay. If you have any further questions, just reach out to me or reach out to Paulo, or you can drop your name and email on our website. You can see on the screen. We are always here to help you, guide you, give you more info about this business, and we are most welcome all of you to join our community. Just check it out, and this business may change your life, right? Okay, thank you again,
You're
Paulo.
welcome.
I wish you more success in the business. And thank you so much because you are one of the very active leaders in the community who help and support our community development until today. Is yours part as well. So thank you, and grateful so much, Paulo.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah,
Bye
okay.
everyone.
Yeah, bye everyone.